Hari Om. Let us chant the last 10 verses of chapter 5, starting from verse 20. Na prahrishyet priyam prapya, no dvijet prapya cha priyam, stira buddhira sammoodaha, brahma ved brahmani stitaha. बाह्यस्पर्शेष्वसक्तात्मा विन्दत्यात्मनि यत्सुखं स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखमक्षयमश्नुते ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगाः दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्यन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः शक्नोति हैव यः सोढुं प्राक्शरीरविमोक्षणात् कामक्रोधोद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः योऽन्तः सुखोऽन्तरारामः तथान्तर्ज्योतिरेव यः स योगी ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ब्रह्मभूतोऽधिगच्छति लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं ऋषयः क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नद्वैधायतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः कामक्रोधवियुक्तानां यतीनां यतचेतसाम् अभितो ब्रह्मनिर्वाणं वर्तते विदितात्मनाम् स्पर्शान् कृत्वा बहिर्बाह्यां चक्षुश्चैवान्तरे भ्रुवोः प्राणापानौ समौ कृत्वा नासाभ्यन्तरचारिणौ यतेन्द्रियमनोबुद्धिः मुनिर्मोक्षपरायणः विगतेच्छाभयक्रोधः यः सदा मुक्त एव सः भोक्तारं यज्ञतपसां सर्वलोकमहेश्वरं सुहृदं सर्वभूतानां ज्ञात्वा मां शान्तिमृच्छति।
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। We continue with verse number 23 onwards.
शक्नोति हैव यः सोढुं प्राक्शरीरविमोक्षणात् कामक्रोधोद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः शक्नोति हैव यः सोढुं प्राक्शरीरविमोक्षणात् कामक्रोधोद्भवं वेगं स युक्तः स सुखी नरः।
He who is able to withstand even here, before liberation from the body, the force arising from desire and anger. He is a yogi, he is a happy man. He who is able to withstand even here, before liberation from the body, the force arising from desire and anger. He is a yogi, he is a happy man. First, he said in the previous verses, the value, the importance, the value of mental preparedness. The importance of the value of mental preparedness is explained, and what is mental preparedness, both are explained. By this explanation, the human being is able to understand certain things about the world rightly. So the value of the importance of mental preparation, and what is that mental preparation? What is that mental preparation that we saw till date? Having things also require mental preparedness. Not having things also requires mental preparation. That's all. What is mental preparation? Having things also requires a kind of preparation. Not having it also requires a kind of mental preparation. Having it requires the preparation of understanding the pain. Not having it requires the preparation of emptiness. So when I don't have, there is emptiness. When I have, there is pain. Without pessimistic, you can't. It can't be explained more pessimistic than. It can't be said more pessimistic than this. Now that's what the verses are saying. What do we do? If we, because of our own ignorance, because of our own expectation, we believe in positivity and all that. That is our belief. But the reality is, a preparation is required. What is a preparation? When you have it, it results in pain. Why when you have it, it results in pain? Arrival will be followed by a departure, and you are not ready for the departure. The way in which the mind is prepared for the arrival, the mind is not at all ready for the departure. Okay, since it is going to depart anyway, might as well not have it at all. Only if I have it, all these problems. No, might as well choose not to have. Okay, what happens because of that? Emptiness comes immediately. If you choose not to have, there is an emptiness. So so I'm not elaborating this. Sir, two sessions we have elaborated this already. Now this is what he has been saying till now. This mental preparation he described till date. Having described the mental preparation, this verse is another important to us. The karma sannyasa yoga full of sadhanas only he is giving. Lot of only spiritual sadhanas, spiritual practices he is giving. In this verse, he is talking about how do you handle the raga dvesha. Previously, he spoke about the indiscriminate contact, indiscriminate acquisition, or indiscriminately running away from the world. So, previously he spoke about the indiscriminate way of dealing with the world. Now he is talking about handling raga dvesha. This handling raga dvesha, he called it as kama krodha, handling kama krodha. Handling kama krodha is nothing but handling raga dvesha. So, what is raga and what is dvesha? Raga means attraction, attachment. Dvesha means aversion, a dislike. What is the source for Raga Dvesha? What is the cause for Raga Dvesha? The source for Raga Dvesha, the cause for Raga Dvesha is a very deep-rooted misunderstanding. A very deep-rooted misunderstanding, a wrong notion, ignorant notion. What? The world can give you sorrow or the world can give you happiness. World is a source of pain and happiness. The objects and beings is a source of pain and happiness. If you, as long as you have this notion, you will have raga and dvesha. Now, what is this raga dvesha? Attachment towards, attraction or attachment towards any object or person arises when you believe that the object or person can give you happiness. Then only you will get attracted. Are you able to follow? Attraction happens when you believe that the object or being can give you, there is sukham in that, there is happiness in that. Raga Dvesha becomes obsession. When it turns into an obsession, when you believe that that object or person can give you permanent happiness. It turns into an obsession when you believe that it can give you permanent happiness. You able to follow? See, a few things with Vedanta we cannot accept. The crux of Vedanta we cannot accept, and we still, everybody studies Vedanta. The beauty of the whole subject is this. It is impossible to accept the crux of Vedanta, and yet everybody studies it. What is the crux? Point number one is the world. See, Vedanta only 3 points. Vedanta is. The first point is world can neither be a source of happiness or sorrow. This is one. Number two. Number two is the reality that you place to the world. The reality that you place to the world is as good as how much reality you place to your body, mind, intellect. The reality of the world is dependent upon how real the body, mind, intellect is. This is the second point of Vedanta. This we will not accept. First point, we will disconnect from Vedanta. Second point is much more difficult. The third is the ultimate. Tattvamasi. You are that. See, Brahman or Brahman, Atman, Purnatvam, all means the same. They are all synonyms. They are all not different. All means the same. The third thing when Vedanta says that full you are already. All these three is, and we say, sir, Vedanta is perfectly understandable, sir, except these three. Anything other than these three, Vedanta is correct. Because it teaches us how to raga dvesha, it teaches us mind, it teaches us, all that is perfectly fine. But don't talk about these three. For these three, we will come to later, sir. Adalla will come to later. First, I will worry about these things. Are you able to follow? So, what is this raga dvesha? Raga dvesha. First, we have to understand the source of raga dvesha. What is the source of raga dvesha? The source, the cause for raga dvesha is a misconception. A misconception, a misunderstanding. What is the misconception and misunderstanding? The misconception and misunderstanding that world can give you happiness or pain. That which gives you a hope of happiness, you develop raga towards it. That which is going to give pain to you, you develop dvesha. That's all. Are you able to follow? So raga dvesha comes from the notion. What is that notion? Previous verse he said adyantavanta kaunteya. It is they come and go. When you believe that object can give you happiness, you will get attracted to it. When you understand a person can give you happiness, you will get attracted to that person. Dvesha you develop when the person gives you dukkha, pain. Are you able to follow? That is why the same person, you will have raga at one point of time, you will have dvesha at another point of time. Towards the same person. If it is towards two different, it is understandable. But raga dvesha will be towards the same person at different periods of time. That's why they say, how do I understand this, sir? There's nothing to understand. Only one understanding. You are deluded. How do I process this, sir? How do I understand myself? Nothing to there's no complication at all. How do you process yourself? You are deluded. What is the delusion? The raga and dvesha. Swamiji puts it very simply. Cigarette being the same gives pleasure to one and pain to another. The person being the same gives pleasure to one and pain to another. So the world, if the world is the source of sorrow, everybody must be universally sorrowful. If the world is the source of joy, everybody must be universally joyous. Music, yeah. I put Carnatic music, it is pain for the rest in the family. Yeah. They put some other music, it is pain for me. Yeah. I put Tamil movie, I know only Tamil. English movie also I get very confused. I don't understand. Yeah. I put Tamil movie, it is very, very pleasurable for me. And if they put Hindi movie, I fall off to sleep. For now, I don't understand that. All of them looks like the same, everything. So the same movie, the same music, the same object, the same person gives joy to one and pain to another at any given point of time. Also, the same object gives pain at one point of time and pleasure at another point of time. It means what? It means what? It is I, the law. From this you derive the law. You arrive at the law. What is the law? It is I who make the world a source of joy. It is I who makes the world a source of sorrow. Therefore, the entire thing is dependent on me. Are you okay till now? It's all very easy to understand. As long as I do not discover this fact, as long as I don't digest this fact, what I will do? I'm going to blame the world. Carefully follow the sequence. I will blame the world. As long as I blame the world, I will try to correct the world. From this, you are able to understand how universally everybody wants to correct the world. Everybody wants to correct the world. Everything is all right, sir, but if only the children are more, respectful and all that, everything will be all right. So correct the children, correct the partner, correct the employee, correct the employer, correct, change. And it doesn't stop here. Huh? And it doesn't stop here. Even if you correct it, change it, you know that it is not going to stay like that forever. Even if you change it, even if you correct it, you know that it is not going to be like that forever. Yeah. That is why we say, we had a conversation and we developed the right understanding, sir. But let me see how long. Why? Because even if you change, even if you bring in the ideal situation, you know that it is not going to remain the same. It is not going to remain the same. In this country, we have this notion, no? If everything goes all right, we will put one drishti. If everything goes all right, we will put one drishti, no? Why? Because you yourself know that it is not going to, be the same. You want to ideal conditions wouldn't last for long. You yourself know it. So you try to change and you know that it will not. You try to change and you understand that it will not remain the same. Anxiety comes, worry comes, fear comes. Therefore, the law. You make yourself the law. He says, you make yourself or you mar yourself. Correct, sir? That is 50%. I make myself, I mar myself 50%, but 50% agree that the other person is also a cause for it. Don't exclude the other. Say that you are responsible and also say other is also responsible. And then proportion comes. Yeah. The other person is proportionately, the other person is more causing. I am now a little bit here and there, I have also contributed, sir. But predominantly, contribution is by the other. Therefore, we have to understand the problem is not with the world, the problem is with myself. Okay, the problem is with myself. In what form the problem is with myself? In what form? Raga and Dvesha. Therefore, the problem is not with the world. The problem is with myself. And when I say the problem is with myself, it is with my own Raga, Dvesha. The moment I develop Raga, Dvesha, I am not living in the real world. I live in my own fantasized world. Raga, Dvesha is nothing but living in the world of fantasy. Vedanta comes and says, get out of your fantasy world and live in the, see the real world. If you see the real world, you will develop, you become a yogi. That's what the verse is. He who is he is a yogi. He's a happy man. He is a yogi. Sunrise will cause happiness. Sunset will cause dukkha. Or sunrise will cause happiness to one and sunrise will cause pain to another. To whom sunrise will cause happiness? To whom sunrise will cause happiness? For the person who wants to wake up. For the person who wants to wake up, sunrise gives happiness. For the person who doesn't want to wake up, sunrise is pain. Nevertheless, sun rises and sun sets without giving you sukha or dukkha. It neither gives sukha or it neither gives dukkha. The one who wants to work, sunrise is happy. The one who doesn't want to work, sunrise is source of sorrow. Yeah. Adukulla sunrises, sir. Just now I went to sleep immediately. The whole day I have to slog now. Nevertheless, the sun rises, the sun sets. Now, who is a yogi? A yogi is one who understands what? A yogi is one who has this knowledge. The ignorant one says, sunrise gives happy or sunrise gives sorrow. Ignorant person says, sunrise can give happiness, sunrise can give sorrow. The ignorant person. The wise one says, sunrise is sunrise, sunset is sunset, birth is birth, death is death. Hysterical person will be hysterical person, affectionate person will be affectionate person. The world is seen without any subjective projections. The subjective projection that you put on the world is raga dvesha. The subjective projection. And what is objectivity means now? What is objectivity? Looking at the world minus your raga dvesha. What is objectivity? It's very easy. Objectivity is easy if you can manage raga dvesha. Objectivity is impossible if you can't manage raga dvesha. That is why for a person who is affected by raga dvesha, you tell that person objectivity, be objective, be objective. The very objectivity will make that person more angry. You tell that person be objective, the very suggestion that you are telling that person be objective makes him more angry, more frustrated, more irritated. Why? Because objectivity means seeing the world as it is. Objectivity means seeing the world as it is. A yogi is objective person. Because of this objectivity, he is happy. Because of his objectivity, he is happy. And what is objectivity? Not subjectively projecting something on the world. By what you subjectively project? By your raga dvesha. Who is a yogi? So beautifully he says here. Who is a yogi? A yogi is one who doesn't have the subjective projection. The only important factor here is managing this raga dvesha. How long to manage Raga Dvesha? How long to manage Raga Dvesha? Vedanta, Krishna is saying it's a lifelong project. It's a lifelong project because Raga Dvesha keeps coming again and again and again. It keeps appearing again and again and again. So managing Raga Dvesha is not it's not you study Bhagavad Gita one cycle, you do online course one cycle, Raga Dvesha will come under management. Yeah, that is why study of Vedanta is also a lifelong project. Shankar, Ashaji, studying Vedanta becomes a lifelong project. You can never say, I have studied, I have understood. That is why he keeps saying, repeat it again and again and again. Repeat the cycle again and again and again. We say, sir, other rendu vaati mudichitome. We have finished it twice. We have finished it thrice. Why do I have to go through it again and again and again? You have to go through it again and again and again because this managing Raga Dvesha is a lifetime project. In this verse, he is saying it will continue into next life also. It's not only one lifetime project. It is a many lifetime project. Prak Sharira Vimokshanat. Prak Sharira Vimokshanat. Thirupi padikanu. Sharira Vimokshanat Prak. That's how it is. If you read it like that, the meaning becomes clear. Prak Sharira Vimokshanat. What does it mean? Before the fall of the body. Before the fall of the body means before liberation from the body. Before liberation from the body means death. Prak Sharira Vimokshanat. The happiness you can get. The happiness you will be able to get it now. Shaknoti haivaya sodum. A person who can handle this Raga Dvesha. Shaknoti haivaya sodum. A person who can handle this. Who is able to withstand this. A person who is able to handle this. Now he is happy. He is happy. Managing what? Kama Krodha Udbhavam. Kama Krodhodbhavam Vegam. The force. First he says manage the force. In 2 stages. First he says manage the force. Second is eliminate it from the root. First is manage the force. A yogi is one who manages the force of Raga Dvesha. A sannyasi is one who is transcending Raga Dvesha. Who is a realized person? A yogi is trying to manage Raga Dvesha. Sannyasi is trying to transcend Raga Dvesha. And who is a Jnani? Jnani in this context means an enlightened person. Who is a Jnani? A Jnani is one who said this Raga Dvesha itself is out of delusion, ignorance. There is no managing, there is no transcending, simple recognizing that there is no snake. A recognition that there is no snake. One person is trying to manage the snake. Another person is trying to transcend the snake. The third fellow says, illa the snake apati, why are you bothering so much? where there is no, what are you trying to handle? What are you trying to manage? What are you trying to transcend? That which is not there. Now, Krishna so beautifully goes in stages. For a person who is a victim of Raga Dvesha, you can't tell that person there is no such thing called Raga Dvesha at all. You can't tell that. Even if you say it, it wouldn't help that person in any way. It won't be of any help to that person. So first he says what? Raga Dvesha will be there in the mind. Raga Dvesha will be there. Your first aim is to manage them. This managing Raga Dvesha is called self-management. Managing others' Raga Dvesha is ignorance. Yeah. Managing others' Raga Dvesha is ignorance. What is self-management? Self-management means managing one's own Raga Dvesha. But all the time we try to manage the Raga Dvesha of, it doesn't work. So, one who is managing Raga Dvesha is exactly like the one who has sickness, but the sickness is under control, and because of the sickness under control, he is happy. But still, sickness is there. Are you able to follow the difference? Sickness is there, but the sickness has not overpowered you. The sickness is there, but you are able to manage the sickness. This managing the sickness is called self-management. Vedanta, this is where Vedanta comes and says, before you manage anything outside, manage. If you can't manage your own self, you can't manage anything outside. And how much ever you are able to manage things outside, the worry, the anxiety, the fear will remain the same. Why? Because you don't have self-management. So the first thing that you have to learn in life is self-management. What does self-management means? Managing Raga Dvesha. A person who is able to manage one's own Raga Dvesha is called a yogi. He is a yogi. And a yogi is a happy person. He is a yogi and he is happy. Meaning he's a very normal, sane human being. That's all. He has not achieved anything extraordinary in life. He has just achieved normal human status. In English, we ask this question, no? Are you a human being or what? And we ask this question, no? Sanskrit, it is called Naraha Vana. Are you a human being or what? And the Naraha Vava Potada Vanarama Marmat. Vanaraha, reverse it, it becomes Naraha Va. That's why the mind is connected to, the mind is connected to Vanara. Vanara na Vanaram monkey. Yeah. Naraha Va. That's three pota Vanaraha. That's Manshanoda innor pair. The Sanskrit, this looks like a Sanskrit class. Himsaha, Tirupnada Simha. Mari Naraha Va, or Tirupna Vanara. So, who is a human being? Vanarama illa Rikrava, he is a human being. They say the tail tucked, no? In English, they say self-management. What is self-management? A person who's got the tail And what is the tail? What is the tail? Raga Dvesha. A person who's got his tail tucked is called a yogi. A person who's got his tail tucked is called a yogi. He's a sane person. Because of him, got this Raga Dvesha under control, he will not be impulsive. He's got self-control. A person who's able to manage Raga Dvesha is a person who will not be impulsive. He's a person who's practicing self-control. Otherwise, he goes by impulse. If the Raga Dvesha is not under control, the human being lives by impulse. A person living by impulse is called an impulsive person. And the impulsive person is Vanaram. That impulsiveness is Vanara. Another we say Narahava. Yeah. Are you a human being or what? Swamiji gives this example. The human beings, impulsive. See, suddenly in the middle of the class, he gives this example. Beautiful example. Suddenly in the middle of the class, you feel like stretching and then sit. There is an impulse, but you are not able to make a choice of action according to the time, place and situation. You are not able to exercise a choice. When you are able to exercise the choice and make the right choice, you are a yogi. You will be able to do that if your Raga Dvesha is under control. Otherwise, you will be an impulsive person. A person who is impulsive. Why he is saying so much? Gaining knowledge is the job of the intellect. But the Raga Dvesha, the mind that is affected, will not allow you to gain this knowledge. Gaining this knowledge is the job of the intellect. But the intellect can function, can gain knowledge only when the mind is reasonably under control. So, control is necessary to gain knowledge. More knowledge you gain, you will be able to control that much. That's how it is two pedals. Are you able to follow now? Control is required to gain knowledge. More knowledge you gain, more control you will be able to exercise. So, in that sense, it is two pedals. That is why we say a yogi is one who practices Shravana, Manana and Karma Yoga. A yogi is one who practices Shravana, Manana and Karma Yoga. More of Karma Yoga. More of Karma Yoga. In the sannyasi, it just reverses. Shravana, Manana will turn into Nididhyasana and very, very less of Karma Yoga. If you rise to the level of sannyasi, it just reverses. What does it reverse? Karma Yoga becomes less and less. Nididhyasanam becomes, contemplation becomes more and more. Now, what do we have to do now? We are not at the level of contemplation now. We are at the level of Karma Yogi. We are at the level of Yogi now. We are at the level of Arjuna now, a Yogi now. Therefore, Krishna doesn't advise contemplation as a starting level. The Upanishads discusses contemplation as a starting point. The Upanishad discusses contemplation as a starting point. Krishna, talking to the yogi types, starts from a different level. What is it? Desires for acquisition and enjoyments are a component part of a human being. It's a component part in a, what does it mean? Component part in a, it means it will be there. It means it will be there. First he says it is there. Accepted that it is there. The only difference is how are you trying to fulfill that? How are you going about fulfilling that? Let there be desires, but the fulfillment should be guided by dharma. Let the fulfillment of it be guided by dharma. So it allows fulfillment of desires, but that fulfillment of desires is guided by dharma. That's why we gave that example. Destination is your choice, but you have to follow the rules and regulation. You don't have freedom from the rules and regulations. Destination is your choice, meaning what desire you want to pursue, which desire you want to pursue and fulfill, that choice is yours. Vedanta doesn't say pursue this desire, don't pursue another desire. It doesn't say that. Whatsoever desire you want to pursue, that choice is yours. Meaning, where you want to reach, where you want to go, you have a choice over the destination. Meaning, which desires you want to pursue, you have a choice. But where you don't have a choice. Whatsoever destination you want to reach, you have to travel by the road, and when you travel by the road, you are bound by the rules and regulations of the road. That rules and regulations is called dharma, and the powerful intellect is that which will keep you in the path of dharma to fulfill the desires. A person who's doing this is called a yogi. Therefore, a yogi is the one who is managing desires, trying to fulfill desires, but that fulfilling the desires is guided by dharma. So, where is his happiness coming from? Yogi is a very happy person. Huh? Why? Because he has two sources of happiness. What are the two sources of happiness? Fulfillment of desire is one source of happiness. Sticking to dharma is another source of happiness. Now you read the verse. Kama krododbhavam vegam sayuktaha sasukhi naraha. Sayuktaha sasukhi naraha. He is a yuktaha and he experiences sukham. What is the sukham of yogi? Fulfillment of desires. At the same time, it is governed, directed by the intellect. The moment intellect takes over, what happens? The desire turns into an ideal, a goal. The moment intellect takes over, it is no more a desire, it turns into a higher ideal, a higher goal, a higher pursuit. A higher pursuit, a higher ideal beyond one's selfish, self-centered interest. When you thus start living life, what happens? You are a well-organized person. You are a well-organized person. You are well managed. A person who is well managed by himself, he is a yogi, and he is a happy person. Sasukhi Naraha. Are you able to understand now? Instead, if you go along with Raga Dvesha, it gathers momentum and it destructive. So you do not suffocate the Raga Dvesha, you do not stifle the Raga Dvesha, the intellect takes control of it and starts directing it. The intellect takes control of the Raga Dvesha. And what is intellect taking control of the Raga Dvesha means? That's what he always says. Intellect is that which directs the desires. Directing your desires into the form of an aim, an aspiration, a higher aim, aspiration, a higher goal, a higher pursuit, a higher purpose to life. When all this brought in, what happens? When all this brought in, what happens? There is a calmness. In that calmness, you continue the study reflection from yogi. In this Janma itself, from yogi, you will metamorphose into a sannyasi and a jnani before death itself. It will happen now in this Janma. Before death, you will have Jivan. The many Janma project la vana. Don't have many lifetime projects Allah. You can finish it off. You can finish it off now, here. But go through the process of yogi, sannyasi, and jnani. Like for example, see, if you have a bitter fight with somebody and sit in the class, the very emotional agitation itself will not allow you to receive so much, no? The very agitation itself. Yeah, the very agitation itself. Yeah, knowledge, you will not be able to receive the knowledge at all. Shankaracharya can blow his lungs out. Krishna can blow his lungs out. But because of my emotional turmoil, I will not be able to receive it at all. Why? Because I myself is so agitated. Myself is so agitated. So avoid the agitation. So how do you avoid the agitation? The aim, the desires are converted into a goal. What is the goal means? Desire says happiness for myself, using others. Happiness for myself by making use of the others. Other than desire. What is higher ideal? I will be a source of happiness to others. Instead of using the other for my happiness, I volunteer myself to be a source of happiness to others. This is called a life of service and sacrifice, a higher life, a higher ideal. When you do this, the mind is so calm that whatever knowledge you hear, it just, whatever knowledge you get, it just sinks in. It just sinks in. He is a yogi. He is yogi and he is happy. It means what? A non-yogi can never be happy. That's the implication here. A non-yogi can never be a happy person. From this, what you derive a corollary? Whenever you are unhappy, you realize, you recognize that you have moved away from the path of yoga. Adha. A yogi is happy. A ayogi means a non-yogi. A non-yogi can never be happy person. From this, the corollary. What is the corollary? Whenever you are agitated, you recognize that you have moved from the path of yoga. Whenever you are agitated, you recognize that you have moved from the path of yoga, you are gaining Vedantic knowledge. Whenever you are agitated, whenever you are agitated, whenever you are disturbed, and you blame the world for that, 7:45 length, we have to rewind the class now. Okay. We have to rewind the class from 7:45 because that's how we started. If you remember, we started there and we went through one whole cycle where we went through step by step, not cycle, step by step, and we recognized how moksha can be, where a complete liberation can be achieved even before death. Even before death means in this janma itself, it is. In this janma itself, it is possible. In this janma itself, it is possible. Shaknoti haiva yasodum praksharira vimokshanat kama krododbhavam vegam sayuktaha sasuki naraha. Verse number 23. We move on to verse number 24. Like that.
Yonta sukhontara ramaha tathantar jyotirevayah sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto dhigacchati. Yonta sukhontara ramaha tathantar jyotirevayah sayogi brahma nirvanam brahma bhuto dhigacchati.
He who is happy within, who rejoices within, who is illumined within, that yogi alone, becoming Brahman, gains the bliss of Brahman. He who is happy within, he who rejoices within, he who is illumined within, that yogi alone, becoming Brahman, gains the bliss of Brahman. Now, what does that mean? Follow the sequence. First, we spoke about the preparation. First, he spoke about the mental preparation. And then we spoke about not being a victim of emotions. So, grades. He's talking about the grades and the stages of evolution itself. In this verse, what you have to understand, we have to assume. What we have to assume, he is mastered. The previous verses, Allah, he has mastered and he has reached a very good level of growth. He has achieved a very good level of evolution, growth. What is that person? He is happy within. He rejoices within. He is illumined within. That yogi alone, becoming Brahman. Brahma Bhutaha. Brahma Bhutaha means by becoming Brahman. Who is that one? It's a yogi. The yogi, whoever is the yogi means whoever has been practicing all this, that yogi, that person becomes Brahma Bhutaha by becoming Brahman. Adhigacchati, becomes Brahman, he becomes Brahman. Brahma Nirvanam, he gains the bliss of Brahman. Nirvanam means bliss, Nirvana, liberation. First one, Antaha Sukhaha. Once a person discovers the inner fulfillment, Antaha Sukhaha. Antaha Sukhaha means inner fulfillment. What happens? Three types of happiness he experiences. Three types of bliss he experiences. First is the preparation. What is the preparation? When things are there, you are not too excited. When things leave, you are not dejected. Why? Because arrival and departure. That is understood. Second is the Raga Dvesha. Raga Dvesha. Raga Dvesha makes you to do what? When things are there, you complain. When things are not there, again you complain. That is Raga Dvesha. Carefully follow. When things are there, you complain. When it is not there, again you complain. So, a person who is constantly complaining, you understand that person is a victim of Raga Dvesha. He is an emotionally disturbed person. So he has conquered all that. A person of Raga Dvesha, not only he is sorrow to himself, he freely distributes sorrow to others also. Free distribution. Not only he is disturbed, he will go and disturb, he will distribute the disturbance to others also. Even that is why when somebody is happy, you will say, what is it that has happened that you are so happy now when life is going to end? Corona first wave mudiyum nenicha, second wave is coming. Along with the second wave, vaccine is also coming. But now the new worry, whether the vaccine will cure that new strain or not. You have too many things so many things in life, we have to complain, we have to worry. Adallah, this person has transcended. Assume that. This person has, this itself looks like water. This itself looks like a great freedom. So we have to assume what? We have to assume what? He has achieved the state of happiness. He who is happy within. A person who has found the happiness within. A person who doesn't know how to find happiness within goes for recreation outside. The recreation outside. He goes for happiness from outside. Yeah. See, what is the role of the gadgets? So many gadgets we have, no? See, even in my desk now, just a 2 feet desk that I have, in this 2 feet desk, if I look every time, I look the number of gadgets. So much of gadgets for what? So much of gadgets. All these gadgets for what? To give happiness. Even if one goes out, misery. The presence of these is not giving me Brahma Nirvanam. The acquisition of this, the presence of this has not given me Brahma Nirvanam. Nothing has happened. Agitation still remains the same. The pain and worry still remains the same. Yeah. Are you able to follow? Shivaratri. Vaikunta Ekadasi, not Shivaratri. Clear? Day before or yesterday, whenever it happened, no? Vaikunta Ekadasi. You have to be awake that whole night. Ideally speaking, I'm not saying be awake and all that. I wasn't awake, I slept. You have to be awake the whole night and chant Vishnu's name. Shivaratri, you be awake the whole night and chant Shiva's name. It doesn't matter. The idea is it doesn't really matter whether you chant Vishnu or Shiva. The point there is, are you able to be awake for one night for the sake of God? It doesn't matter which God. Are you able to be? And I couldn't do that. And I am sitting and giving lectures to you all, and you are also listening to me. If anybody has heard me rightly, it will be empty screen. Om Savana. Not a single person will be there. Why? Then why are you giving lectures to us if you yourself are not able to do? Vaikunta Ekadashi comes, preparation starts. What is the preparation? First show, one movie. Second show, another movie. Yeah. In the theaters, they will put, no. I don't know whether they still do that or not. They used to put it in the movie theaters. Special midnight show on account of Shivaratri. Special midnight show on account of Vaikunta Ekadashi. Meaning, night show is already over. The night show itself gets over at 1 o'clock. And then there's another movie that starts at 1:30 and it will go till 4:30. It means what? You have been awake the whole night. Watching 3 Rajinikanth movies. You will attain moksha now. After death, you will go to Vaikunta. Who are you trying to? Yeah. The question that he's asking is, who are you trying to cheat? What is it that you are trying to? What is it that you are trying to? What is it that you are trying to do? A person who is not happy with himself needs gadgets to keep him happy, to make him happy. Switch off the mobile, whether the other is restless or not, you get restless, no? And you are not going to get ICU calls every day. You are not going to get ICU calls 24/7 unless you are a doctor working in that ICU, unless you are a doctor working in an emergency department of the hospital. We all can switch off the mobiles for hours together and still nothing will happen. But the very fact that we are not able to do that is because of what? The moment the gadget is gone, you do not know what to do with yourself. There is an emptiness inside. There is an emptiness inside. And this emptiness inside is tried to fill with recreation from outside. Are you able to follow? A person is yogaratova, bhogaratova, sangaratova, sangavihinaha. He is happy with himself. He is happy. See, there are people who cannot be without people. There are people who can't be with people. Yeah. Yaradu varanganali very irritated. Somebody is coming, irritation comes because attachment to lonely. I want to be, just leave me alone. Just leave me alone. One kind of set. Another kind of set says, I can't be alone. I want people around all the time. Here he is saying, is neither attached to loneliness nor he is attached to people. Why? Because he has that inner happiness. He is a yogi. Again, he is using the word yogi. Yeah? Again, he is calling them as yogi only. Brahma Bhutaha. Brahma Bhutaha. Brahman means one. He has become one with Brahman. What is meant by he has become one with Brahman? What is meant by that? When we say he has become one with Brahman, means he has recognized his Purnatvam. The one who has recognized the fullness. The one who has recognized the fullness. Brahman is a technical word for Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate, Purnasya, Purnamadhaya, Purnameva Vasishyate. The one who has recognized the Purnatva. I am full. I am complete. I do not need anything to be happy. With happiness, with happiness for happiness. Somewhere, over class we keep saying something. With happiness or for happiness. I am full. I am complete. I do not need anything to make me happy. As I am secure. I don't feel anything I don't feel insecure at all. For to fill that security, I need to acquire something. This knowledge, this understanding is called Brahma Bhutaha. He recognizes what? At some point of time, when all this is over, the body will wear and tear. Pudu car, it can't run forever. Over a period of time, the car is the scrap value, isn't it? Similarly, one day the body also will perish and it will be of scrap value. What will happen to him? He will not be a lonely person. He will not be a person of sorrow, remorse, frustration. He is happy. 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 He is illumined within. Illumined within. Illumined within means knowledge. He's got the knowledge. What is the knowledge? What is the knowledge? Knowledge is freedom from ignorance. Knowledge means freedom from ignorance. That's why it's called liberation. Liberated from what? Liberated from Raga Dvesha at one level. But the very Raga Dvesha itself is because of avidya. So, what is liberation? Liberation means freedom from ignorance. You should not say freedom from Raga Dvesha. You should say freedom from Raga Dvesha at the elementary level. But it is not freedom from Raga Dvesha. It is freedom from avidya. Freedom from ignorance. Liberated now. What is liberation now? Jivan Mukti. freedom from kama krodha, freedom from raga dvesha is vairagyam. What is vairagyam? Vairagyam is the effort. Vairagyam is the effort, the willingness and the effort you put to become independent of external factors. That is vairagyam. The effort, the conviction, the desire, the willingness to be free of the external factors is vairagyam. And the presence and the person who has gone through this process attains Jivan Mukti. Jivan Mukti means liberation now. And how do you understand Jivan Mukti in our language? Emotional independence while living. The presence or absence of things doesn't make a difference at all. A inner life of self-satisfaction. A inner life of self-satisfaction. See, this inner illumination means a self-satisfaction. Anything you do, there's a satisfaction. You eat, there's a satisfaction. You sleep, there is a satisfaction. You do, there is a satisfaction. You don't do, there is this life of inner satisfaction, irrespective of what you do. You are fasting, you are satisfied. You are feasting, satisfied. Yeah, that is the life of a sannyasi. That is the life of that's the life of a sannyasi. Whatsoever he does, there is a satisfaction. That is why he is fasting happily and he is feasting happily. When people are there, he is happy. When people leave, when he is lonely, when he is all by himself, again he is happy. How to describe this state? It's very difficult to describe this state. For most of the time, the description of the wise person looks like an indifferent state. Are you able to follow? See, the presence or absence doesn't make a difference in irundalum onnu illanalum onnuna. It looks like a very indifferent state. It is difficult to understand how the glory of the state, the glory of, see, very few understands the value of independence. Everybody says, I want to be independent, I want to be independent, I want to be independent. But honestly speaking, very few really want to be independent. Most of the human beings want to be dependent only. Even though they say, I want independence, I want independence, I want independence. Any description of independence, they say it is indifference. What is independence? Are you able to follow? Very few people in life wants independence. A person who wants independence technically is known as mumukshatva. A person who wants independence means he has mumukshatva, and very few has mumukshatva. And what is independence means? There is no, the emotions do not affect, the emotions do not bother, affect. The presence or absence of objects or beings doesn't disturb you internally. It means you are independent. But what is our notion of independence? What is our notion of independence? Ignorant people. What is the ignorant notion of independence? The ignorant notion of independence is I will be self-sufficient, but everything should happen according to my wishes. I'm an independent person, sir, Anna, but everything should happen according to my wishes. Everything should happen according to my whims and fancies. Everything should happen according to my terms and conditions. But still, I will be independent. If I want people, people must come. If I want to be lonely, everybody must leave me and go. But I will be independent, sir. When I want wealth, wealth must come. When I don't want wealth, it should. What kind of independence is that? There is no. What is independence means? The arrival of wealth, you don't count anything. The departure of wealth, you don't feel that you have lost something. If you are counting arrival, you will feel lost when it departs. Are you able to follow? Who is that yogi alone becoming Brahman gains the bliss of Brahman by virtue of what? A yogi, a person who can withstand the onslaughts of the enchantments. A person who can withstand the onslaught of enchantments. More and more you try to withstand, more and more temptations come. More you try to withstand, more the temptations. And you keep saying, no, 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 no. And you keep saying, no, no, no. This verse number 24 that we finished just now, talks about the internal discipline for an advanced seeker. Next verse is going to talk about the external discipline. Internal sadhana, external sadhana. Bahiranga, Antaranga. Internal and external. And throughout this chapter, the emphasis he places more on the sadhana. He places the emphasis on sadhana and he alternates between internal and external. And then when we do this verse number 25, we will go through the sequence. It's all jumbled up. We will go through the sequence that is in the next class. We'll go through the sequence. Where do you start? And step by step by step, you come to the level of human perfection. In this verse number 24, which we finished, he says, Yonta Sukontara Ramaha Tata Jyotihi Evacha Sayogi Brahma Nirvanam Brahma Bhutodi Gacchati. Brahma Bhutodi Gacchati. With this, we finish verse number 24. Next session, we continue with verse number 25. Before I conclude, I'll take up the clarification. Any clarifications, Venkat? Irka? Yeah, one. Yes.
Sir, Nanda sir. So, verse number 23 and 24 refer to the same person. The 22, the Karma Yogi, will be, his qualifications will be like, this is how he will look like in 24.
Yes.
So, being a Karma Yogi alone, you can get liberated.
Being a Karma Yogi,
to become a sannyasi and jnani.
Being a Karma Yogi, you will mature into a sannyasi.
But you said he is managing. So throughout life, if I am only managing this Raga Dvesha.
A Karma Yogi, the sequence of spiritual evolution is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, liberation. This is the sequence.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is meant by sannyasi? That's why I said when we finish verse number 25, the next class I said I will bring the entire sequence. Once I explain the entire sequence, it will be clear. But to answer the clarification now, a Karma Yogi is one who is managing Raga Dvesha. A disease is there, but the disease is under
Control.
Control. Sannyas is the stage where he is trying to make an effort to transcend the
Ragadvesha.
Ragadvesha. Jnanam, the state of self-realization, is where the disease itself is understood as the disease itself is understood as imaginary. That is why in the state of self-realization, it is completely different. In the state of yogi and sannyasi, there is an effort, there is an attainment and all that. The moment the person attains jnanam, the state of self-realization, he says the very managing ragadvesha, the very presence of ragadvesha, all that was imaginary. He will not say, I attained moksha. He says, the ignorance was imaginary. The ignorance that I am an apurna now. I am incomplete now. I am unfulfilled now. I am having insecurity now. All this itself is born of kalpana, imagination. So, the three stages, yogi, sannyasi and jnani. Who is a yogi? A yogi is one who is managing ragadvesha. Managing it means keeping it under control. It doesn't. Keeping it under control means it is there. It is there and the effort is to keep it under control. Then comes the question, how long it can be kept under control? Will not a sustained control become frustration at some point of time? So he says, as you are controlling, you gain knowledge and understanding and you become a sannyasi. And by sannyas, Krishna doesn't mean the kavi and danda. Sannyas, according to Krishna, is not kavi, dadi, danda. All this is not sannyas. What is sannyas? Sannyas means in it but not in it. You are in the world. Trayambakam yajamage sugandhim pushtivardhanam urvarukamiva bandhanat mrityor mukshiya mamritat. So what is sannyas? Urvarukam is sannyas. What is urvarukam? Cucumber. The way in which the cucumber is attached to the, what is sannyas? What is the relationship between cucumber and the plant? It looks like there is a relationship. Look, they are in touch with each other. They are touching each other. When you go and pick it up, you know that it got detached long back. So what is sannyas according to Vedanta, according to Krishna? Not the misunderstanding of people, sannyas today, not that kind of a sannyas. You are in the world, but you are not in it. Padmapatra ivambasa. Padmapatra ivambasa. Urvarukamiva bandhanat. Urvarukamiva bandhanat. So, he is in it and yet not in it. That's where in the stories, when they say whom to learn sannyas from, the Shastra say, learn sannyas from Janaka, not from. When Shuka wanted to know what sannyas is, father sent him to Janaka to learn sannyas. And Janaka is a king living in the luxuries of the palace. And when you want to learn sannyas, he said, go and learn sannyas from the king. And the sannyas of Vedanta is called Grihastha sannyasa. Grihastha sannyasa means being in the world, being in the family and and yet detached. Meaning, doing that which you ought to do. You are a source of inspiration to them. You are a source of guide to them. You are a pillar of strength to them, but you are not attached to any of them. Now, this being sannyas is the effect of, the cause is karma yoga, the effect is sannyasa. So, necessarily karma yoga will result in sannyasa, vairagya. But not in the way that sannyasam is understood today. Today sannyasam means ochre robe and the amount of, in fact, we need not fear the grahastha so much, no. We have to fear the sannyasis only nowadays. It has come to that point where if somebody says I'm a sannyasina, oh, yeah, it has come to that. It has come to that point where that's not sannyas. Is it okay, ma?
Yes, no, my point is, suppose throughout your life you are a karma you remain a karma yogi, you are not yet matured into a sannyasi, will you still get liberation? No.
No, you will not get liberated. If you are only a karma yogi right through the life and didn't mature into a sannyasi, you will not get
liberation.
You will not get liberation. You will be a very prosperous, happy person in the world. But all that prosperity, the happiness and all that, because it is bound by time, you will lose it at some point of time. Therefore, if the person is not maturing into sannyasa, he will be a happy person, a happy, dynamic, prosperous person in the world, but will not attain liberation. Here, Krishna is giving the formula of how to be happy and prosperous and dynamic and yet attain liberation. Is it okay, ma?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
With this, we conclude for today and we continue with verse number 25 onwards in the next session.